Hey guys, I am here with my friend but professional therapist, Cary Scott Counseling. It's
Yes.
CaryScottCounseling.com in Rockwall. And I know we talked a little bit last week about worry and anxiety. And so I was going to come to a true professional and ask her about it just from a clinical point of view, because I was talking about a biblical point of view, but I would love her take on, because as mothers, Cary, and welcome. We're so excited to have
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We both have children the same age.
Yeah.
Son's on the basketball team, so
Yes.
and we're both professionals and have our own business.
Yes.
And so as a mom, even just taking your counseling hat off, as a mom, you have to balance with your kids, your husband, your work,
And self.
and self, right?
Yes.
We can't leave self out of it, guys. Self-care is so important, right?
Right.
So tell me, why do we worry, and what are the effects that they have on us
So,
as mothers and women?
oh, absolutely. And I think as being a parent, it's just natural for us to have that fear, and our brains kind of go to that worst case scenario. If something's wrong with our children, it's not unusual at all as moms of like, oh my gosh, they're in a ditch somewhere, or
Right.
something horrible's happening to them.
Worst case scenario 101.
That's right. And so I think, if you ask any mom, we're gonna, oftentimes we think that way or feel that way
Yes.
because our biggest fear is that, something horrific will happen to our children. And
Right.
because it is our number one job to keep them safe.
Absolutely.
So I think that's something that creates a shift in our bodies when we have such a huge responsibility of taking care of our kids.
Right.
But aside from that, feelings of anxiety, and really at the root of it, you had mentioned worry, it comes down to fear. So fear is a very basic emotion that develops very early in life. And when we feel anxiety, it's because we are worried or fearful of the outcomes of something that happened in the past, or we are worried or fearful of something that happens in the future. It's not in the present. Because if we do a check within ourselves, we can say, hey, right here, right now, everything's okay.
Right.
But we're multitasking so much just in our, general culture today, that it's not just being a mom. It's not just being an entrepreneur. It's not
Right.
just having a husband or a wife, for that matter.
Right.
It's all of these hats that we have to wear, and it's a lot of responsibility.
Right. That is so good what I think that you said about if you really look at just going now. Like maybe in the past this happened, but
Yes.
to project what happened in the past onto what might happen in the future creates that anxiety and worry.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, does it change anything in our lives? No, it just affects us adversely.
Well, it does change something, actually.
What does it change?
So
it doesn't change the outcome of anything.
it does not change the outcome, putting that fear or worry into our systems. But what
Right.
happens within our bodies is, we now know, without argument, is that chemicals get released in our brain. So
Right.
when we feel an overwhelming sense of fear, we kind of get an adrenaline rush. I don't know if you've ever had something so
Yes.
shocking happen to you where you get sick and you kind of feel nauseous.
Yes.
So that's because our body's actually releasing chemicals in our bodies to be able to take care of whatever the incident is. It's
Is that
fight
called
or flight.
fight or flight? Because that's what Isaiah had when I got him.
Absolutely.
He stayed in that because he came from an abused and neglected home. So
Yes.
he was constantly in fight or flight, which really can mess you up, right?
Well, it does, in the sense that we begin to have digestive problems. We
Okay.
begin to have blood pressure problems.
Oh my gosh.
Our heart rate stays up a lot, which is very stressful on our whole nervous system.
Yeah.
And so the impact that it has, or what it changes, are pretty negative if we don't manage it and we don't find balance in it.
So what are 3 things that can manage stress and worry as a mother that you would suggest to your clients at CaryScottCounseling.com?
Well, I think first and foremost, what I always check out when somebody comes in wanting to know about, hey, I'm overwhelmed with all this anxiety, is where is your self-care and where is your relationship with yourself?
I love that.
Because first I need to know what's working for you, what have you already done, so we can get to, okay, what is it that we can try out?
Okay.
Nothing that's a healthy coping strategy is going to be a quick fix in most cases.
Did you hear that, guys? It's not quick.
It's not going to be quick.
But it starts with, how can I take care of myself today so I can take care of everyone else?
Absolutely. And we take on so much I would say oftentimes too, we just have a poor sense of boundaries, of being able to accept our limits with love and grace, and being able to give ourselves love and grace to say, you know what, I can't do everything, and that's okay. I can ask for help. Sometimes I need help, and that doesn't mean that we're a failure or that we're not doing a good job. In fact, we're just being healthy and being able to own where we are at that time and what our needs are.
Wow, so boundaries. We're talking a lot about that in recovery right now.
Yes.
Because someone being a recovering codependent,
Yeah.
I had no boundaries, you
Yeah.
know, and not only for myself but for others.
Yes.
So it's really important to have boundaries. It's okay to say no. You can't do carpool for your best friend every single day. Like,
can't.
no, I'm sorry, I love you, but no.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, I mean, just saying no is actually a really healthy thing,
Absolutely.
right? Because we want what's best, not what's just good.
Well, and think of it this way. Whenever you go on a flight
Mhm.
and we get the demonstration at the beginning of how to use your oxygen mask in the event that something were to happen,
Mhm.
they always tell you that it's so important for you to put the mask on yourself first.
I
And-
love that.
Absolutely. So that way, if you're able to breathe, then you can then help others. But first, you have to put the mask on yourself. And so I kind of use that analogy to kind of give perspective on why that's so important.
So your self-care boundaries,
Yes.
and what else?
So the other thing would be to, and I lost a little bit of sight what your question was.
What are 3 things that could really, that help
Yeah.
curb
For
and help?
the anxiety. Okay.
Yes.
So the self-care, the boundaries, and I would say, you have to find what works for you, but there is tons of research that finds meditation is really helpful.
I love that. Meditation or praying, right? Or the same
Yes.
thing? Kind of.
Well, they're a little bit separate, but actually, meditation works great if you have a spiritual, a religious background that you want to go to. Then you can pull that into your meditative process, doing some
Wow.
visualization exercises. A lot of people get frustrated when they say, well, breathing, everybody tells me to breathe. Well, breathing doesn't work if you're in the middle of an anxiety attack. So I'll be
Yeah.
the first to say, yeah, breathing is not going to do anything
I've
for
tried
you.
that. I've tried that when I'm like,
You're going to
And
cause
it-
yourself to hyperventilate.
yeah, it didn't help.
No, it's not going to when you're in the midst of an attack.
Okay.
But if you can be really mindful of your breathing when you're not in that overwhelm,
Uh-huh.
then it helps overall. So it's a
Okay.
practice, and
Okay.
it's something that has to be consistent. So you can't just wait until you're, at a 10 with your anxiety levels,
Right.
and then try to implement some of these strategies. You have to be able to improve your self-awareness to know, okay, whenever I start getting this feeling, or whenever my thoughts start going to this place,
Uh-huh.
then that's kind of a cue or a sign to say, oh, my anxiety is amping up.
Right.
I need to do something. I need to intervene then, not wait until I'm completely out of control.
Right.
Because at that point, you're just going to have to ride through it.
And then got it
Yeah.
on this other side of it. From
Yeah.
what they have told me in recovery too, is just like meditation, prayer before anything, which it sets your mind straight.
It's a daily practice.
So then we react differently.
Absolutely.
So then we don't get in the foxhole kind of thing and try to do the foxhole meditation or the foxhole prayer, right? Those are
Absolutely.
such great things, guys. So remember those things when you're worrying and you have anxiety, that you need to, first of all, what do I need to take care of myself right now? What do I need to say no to? What are the boundaries? Or am I feeling like someone's pushing in on my boundaries and asking me to do things that I really
Knowing
don't
your
want to
limits.
do? And
Yeah.
it's like, I can't do anymore. And then number 3, meditating or prayer at the beginning of your day or before you go into a situation that you might think it has been stressful in the past, or you might perceive it to be, oh, this might be a little stressful. I might need to pray or meditate or do some visualization. So thank you so much, Cary
Thank you
Scott.
for having me.
Oh my gosh, I have the coolest friends ever, guys. I mean, seriously, like really. And so if you want more about counseling, go to Cary Scott counseling.com. She's in Rockwall. She's amazing though. And anyway, stay tuned for our next segment.